Let's go over the border to Victoria, and record crowds matched a record price paid for a working dog at the Australian Kelpie Muster held over the weekend. 8,000 people travelled to Casterton in the southwest Victoria for the two-day festival that's in its 15th year. Some went to compete, others went to watch, and a farmer from Yeovil in New South Wales went to spend up big, paying $9,000 for a dog at the annual Kelpie auction. ABC News journalist Tyson Shine was in Casterton and filed this report.
Body's gone.
Heartbreak. The sigh of a 5,000-strong crowd signals the end of the jumping competition for Melbourne-based dog Yabini. Instead, it's George, a Kelpie from Gippsland, who takes this year's high jump title. His owner is Michelle Costa.
He's done a few competitions before. We've competed at the Mountain Cattlemen's and at the Maffra show. And yeah, just he's a working dog and he runs around at home.
How high did he jump today?
Today I think he jumped 2 metres 50, I think.
It's pretty high.
That is pretty high, bigger than me.
Michelle and her partner Hugh travelled 8 hours to compete in the Kelpie Muster. That's about half as long as Nigel Kieran from Yeovil in central New South Wales came to buy a replacement working dog for his sheep farm.
It's 1,100 k's from home. We left home at 4 o'clock and come down, but I went online onto the Kelpie's website, had a looked up the dogs that I thought I was interested, then rang up the owners, told them what I liked, what I didn't like in a dog and what my personality was, and they sort of weeded out the dogs for me that would suit me or wouldn't suit me, and I was pretty much only left with 3 dogs to pick out of the whole 50-odd that were for sale.
So there's a fair bit of research then that goes into this process.
Yeah, we got down and went and inspected the dog and watched him work.
The Merino stud farmer says while he set a record price at the auction, it's relative to those he's paid for working dogs in the past.
He was the only dog that I could find at a standard to replace an old one of mine that I've had for 9.5 years, who was a fantastic dog. And I gave $800 for him 10 years ago. And today I was replacing one with him for $9,000, I guess you could say.
Nigel bought Waibimbi Ted for the record price and another replacement dog at Sunday's auction. His purchases were understandably the talk of the town, but it was hard to ignore the chatter about another group of people who made the long trip to Casterton for the weekend. Di Edwards is the president of the Australian Working Dogs Rescue Group. It's a group that's been running for about 18 months and already has a strong following along the east coast. Their aim to open different paths for working dogs that have been abandoned or found across the country in pounds, waiting to be put down.
With the Casterton Kelpie Muster, the main goal of the auction is to get a quality working dog, and we have no objections to people doing that at all. We're not against that. We just want people to be aware that there are other options in getting a working dog.
So it's a non-for-profit. Have you had anyone who has come forward to say they want to be foster carers?
We've had one person come forward to say they wanted to be a foster carer.
What if someone, say, in a metropolitan city wanted to get on board?
That's not a problem at all. We have a lot of our dogs that go to pet homes because they're not suited to life on a working property. So anyone in suburbia can have one of these dogs, and it's not an issue.
Di says she was overwhelmed with interest from people at the Kelpie Muster. That interest helped in part by the adorable faces of Kenny and Jack. The 2 dogs were saved by the Cairns-based group and were worthy competitors in the weekend festival.
We had, yes, in the sprint and in the high jump, yes.
Successful?
No. Kenny and Jack. Jack was in the high jump and Kenny was in the sprint.
I'm sure they had a good time competing anyway.
They did indeed. We had great fun watching them too.
That was Di Edwards ending Tyson Shine's report from the annual Kelpie Muster in Casterton over the weekend.